Are you a cigar enthusiast looking for the perfect pairing between your premium cigar and your favorite spirits? Then look no further than Park Cigars. Co-founders Emmanuel Peña and Claudio Sanchez, they come from diverse backgrounds, but they both share a passion for premium cigars and fine spirits. And today I am going to review their El Escocés cigar, a creation that has the perfect blend to elevate your smoking and scotch experience. When Emmanuel reached out to try out his cigar, I was very excited. Not only because I know the guy for a long time and he's a really good friend, but because I know that he has a great palate and a lot of experience within the spirits industry. He worked for many years for a rum company, and he has already worked with a cigar company to do something similar to what we have here. Not only do I believe that he's got the knowledge enough to create a cigar like this, but they were also under the guidance of Adriana Costa, the creator of Cigar Culture, one of the cigars that we carry in my store here in the UK, PURO.SHOP. And they've gone to one of the best, I would say, one of the top tabacaleras in the Dominican Republic, which is the William Ventura. Now, from what I understand, the blends were developed by Henderson Ventura at Tabacalera William Ventura, obviously, and it was all a work that everybody worked together. So Emmanuel, Claudio, then we have Adrian, and obviously Henderson. They all worked together to create this blend. Now the cigar that I have here is called El Escocés, and in Spanish that means the scotch. So you can guess where this is going. This is a cigar that is being developed to pair really well with a scotch, a Escocés drink. On top of this one, they also have El Bourbon, which obviously you can tell by the name what is meant to be paired with, and El Coñac, same thing, to pair well with the cognac. Today I am going to review El Escocés. The Escocés by Park Cigars is a 5x52 El Robusto, and the filler is made up of Nicaraguan Visus, Corojo Ligeros from Dominican Republic, and Pilotos Visus from Dominican Republic. The wrapper is a dark Habano, and the binder is a Sumatra. And on average, the tobacco used on this blend is 5 years old. I class this cigar as a medium body that after the middle of the second third builds up to a full. But it depends on what you're drinking and, the state that you're in. I've already smoked a couple of these cigars, and today I'm gonna smoke one here with you, but I'm gonna use the information that I've collected from the other cigars to carry out this review. Otherwise, we're gonna be here for a long time. But one of the first things that I've noticed when I had the cigar was the construction. I find the construction to be very well done. Once I cut it and I took the first draw, one of the things that I noticed that I thought was going to be a bit of a ruining point is that the draw is very easy, very loose. Now I thought the cigar wasn't going to burn properly, or I was going to have combustion issues, or maybe it was going to be too hot. But luckily, it has been done properly. It has an easy draw, and the cigar burns very nice. I found that this cigar has a good firmness to it. It has a velvety texture to the wrapper. And before I lit it, the aroma was of wood, tobacco, and herb. Now, the wrapper, as I mentioned, is velvety and it's a little bit oily. There are also some veins in it. And the taste of the cigar before I lit it was of tobacco, spiciness, and a bit of sweetness. It has a beautiful uniform cap, and it has been well packed. It is properly distributed throughout. On this first third, I found that the draw is very easy. Straight from the beginning, I realized that it has a very easy, very smooth draw that is slowly, after maybe going past half of the first third, it starts to get a little bit tighter. I think all those oils start to build up, but it's very nice. The combustion is very good, and the strength, the nicotine, is medium. It slowly builds up to a medium to full more towards the end of the cigar, but at the moment it is a medium strength cigar, and I think it's really nice to pair with a nice sophisticated whiskey. I also found some sweet notes, some spice, and the aroma is light, almost fresh. I think that maybe when they built the blend of these cigars, they probably thought that the people who are going to smoke this cigar, I might smoke it in a bar, maybe in a man cave or a cigar lounge, maybe even a terrace. So they've created a blend that produces a very light aroma. I'm in a room at the moment, not too big. I don't have the fan on because otherwise the mic will pick it up. And I'm able to be here, and both of the other cigars that I smoked, I was in this room, and it was fine. It doesn't have that strong tobacco smell that, you know, sticks to your clothes that 2-3 days later you still smell of it. It has a very light aroma, almost fresh, I would say. On the flavors, I found that it started with a little bit of spice and pepper. Then slowly it built up to a creamy coffee. Something like an espresso, but with a little bit of cream. A very nice coffee note on this third. Then the aftertaste, I found that even now that I'm talking here, I found that it has some mineral notes, but also a very faint pear. But this is a pear that is like a sweet pear, you know, like you have for the dessert. Or there are some whiskeys that have like a sweet pear note to it. It's kind of like that. It's not very pronounced. You got to be very careful, because what I've noticed is that the notes on the cigar are very smooth. It is very well made. It develops within in every third, but the notes are not very strong. And I think that was done on purpose, because if you have a well-balanced scotch, then you need a well-balanced cigar. If you have any notes that really stick out, like pepper a lot or a lot of sweetness, then that's not going to work well when you're trying to pair it with a nice scotch drink. As I smoke the cigar more and more and I reach the second third, I realized that the cigar is very nice to look at. You know, it has a beautiful band, and I think it complements the wrapper really well. The color of the wrapper, the cigar looks really good. It has a bit of gold, a bit of green, and I think the green has the right tone that works really well with this wrapper. The box is also beautiful. It's a white box, and I'm a sucker for white boxes, but the presentation is good. The logo is amazing. Underneath the box, you're able to see that it says artfully crafted by tobacco artisans, brought to you by Emmanuel Peña and Claudio Sanchez, and it has both of their signature. Then it says designed in the United States, crafted in the Dominican Republic. The cigars, when you open the box, they all look really nice lined up. The colors they use, the wrapper they use, it is a beautiful looking cigar. But on this second third, I noticed that both the cigars that I smoked previously, including this one, I've noticed that the ash is a bit flaky, a bit loose. It doesn't affect the smoking of the cigar or anything. I just noticed that it doesn't hold for too long and it's a little bit flaky. But it is a light gray in some parts and a little bit of a medium gray. And the body and flavors, the flavors of the cigar are staying true to the medium body that it says on the box and that it says on all the paperwork for this cigar. Now on this second third, I carried on picking up sweet notes, creamy notes, and the aroma is still very light, easy to have to smoke inside, indoors. But the flavors, they changed a bit now. So it's developed a cardamom flavor and some coffee, and I think it's toasted bread, maybe toasted nuts. Some of those notes are here. And the aftertaste, again, is gone back to minerals, but now I find a little bit of herbs, something like hay or grass. Not too much, but they're there in the background. Although I've mentioned a couple of times that the aroma is quite fresh and light, the smoke is quite thick and creamy. The smoke coming out from the front of the cigar is very white, very clean, and the smoke that you push out when you take a draw is it's almost brown. But again, it stays very light. I'm inside the room here, easy to breathe, easy to talk. And when you take a sip of your whiskey and the smoke and you breathe in, all of that combines in your mouth and all your sensory system, and they pair really, really well. It is a very enjoyable cigar. I didn't think it was going to work this well, to tell you the truth. I thought, oh, just another cigar, but they have taken their time and they have built something that pairs really nice. I think those notes, the light aroma and the construction of the cigar, even the easy draw that it has, I think it helps a lot with the experience and the whole process of, you know, pairing one with the other one, especially if you're with a couple of friends and you're talking. Then I think it becomes really easy, very nice, a really welcome company to the conversation. As I reached the last third and I started to remove that second band, the one that says El Escocés, that's when I noticed that the cigar, you know, the strength went up a little bit. It went from a medium strength cigar to a little bit of a full cigar, medium to full. And I found that was quite nice because, you know, after you've been smoking the cigar and drinking, your sensory bits on your tongue and your nose, they start to get tired. So building the cigar a little bit more towards the end, I thought that was a nice touch because I get to still enjoy the flavors and a bit of that nicotine hit, you know. But on this last third, I found that the cigar, you know, it has been complex throughout. It has been perfectly balanced, and the ash continues to be a bit flaky, and every time I dropped it or I took it off, it was flat, sometimes even hollow. Now, it didn't affect the way that the cigar smoked. I didn't have to relit it or retouch it. As you can see, you know, this cigar here that I'm smoking, it has a very nice burn to it, not a problem, and it goes all the way to the bottom the same way, but the ash is a little bit flaky. You know, you might not like it, but as long as it doesn't affect the cigar, the only thing is that you need to be careful a little bit because sometimes, you know, if you're not careful, you drop it on your lap or your table or something. Just make sure you're careful with it and it won't affect the smoking experience. On this last third, I found that it was still creamy, but then some sour notes and some spices came on. The aroma, again, same, light and easy to be around. Some mineral notes, some toasted nuts, and some citrus. Now, this citrus note was probably around where the band was, and I've noticed it even when I smoked it when I was drinking water. It is more like a orange peel kind of citrusness, and it is very short. So if you are not careful, if you're not really, you know, tasting, reviewing the cigar, you might miss it. But I found that it was quite nice because it kind of woke up my palate, you know, something different. I was very surprised and I really enjoyed it. The aftertaste still lead, minerals, and earthy. Overall, I think that this cigar pairs really well with scotch. It has those notes of minerals, earth, herbs, even the pear, even the citrusness. So as a pairing with a scotch, a nice well-balanced scotch, I think is a job well done. Here on my tasting sheet, I also got some pairing suggestions, which, as obviously scotch is the main one, but you can also pair it with coffee. As I said earlier, I wouldn't go for something very strong, maybe a pour over, a V60, something like that. And some chocolate, but not as a chocolate drink, maybe like a, you know, pieces of chocolate you're eating together. Some of those notes might play with quite well. And I would say you could smoke the cigar while you're eating maybe fish, maybe chicken, steak, you know, maybe, because the cigar is not that strong, the notes are not that strong, and if you're eating a very flavorful, very fatty steak, then those oils, you know, in your tongue and stuff, you might not be able to pick up those flavors from this cigar. But you know, you can obviously do it. You smoke as you want to smoke and you eat whatever you want to eat, just as long as you enjoy it. These are just my suggestions. I've also given it a final score, and the appearance and manufacturing, in my opinion, deserves a 95. The cigar characteristics, a 96. Taste, 95. General impressions, 95. That gives it an average of 95.25 points. And I think that anything over 93 is a good cigar. Over 95, I recommend. And this one is a cigar that I recommend to anybody who, you know, are looking for an easy pairing. Anyone who just want to have a nice smoke any time of the day. It is a good cigar. I can't complain. There's nothing wrong apart from the flakiness. That's something that I'm not too happy about. I don't really like it because it goes everywhere sometimes. but it's not affecting the way that the cigar is smoking, it's not affecting the way that it's burning, nothing like that. So it is more of a personal thing than the actual construction or the, you know, it affects the cigar or not. If you've liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I have many more reviews. We have to review the bourbon and el cognac, so those are coming. But I also got some other cigars, some Cuban cigars and some other brands that I am going to start reviewing because I haven't done a review in the channel for a while. So make sure you subscribe, share it with anybody who, you know, has trouble finding a good pairing for their favorite scotch and a nice smoke. Share it with them. I'm sure they're gonna appreciate it. And if you like this video, I'm gonna leave you last week's video over here, a playlist down here. Make sure you subscribe, and in the meantime, don't forget to smoke less but smoke the best.